What's up, guys? My name is Simon, otherwise known as Vacant from MangaReaders.com, and I'm joined by Lego.
Hello.
And we're here to discuss Chapter 686 of Bleach, the finale, the conclusion to a 15-year manga. Is the full stop at the end of an incredibly long series, with a hell of a lot of history behind it. So, Lego, there's so much to cover and so much to say. Forming thoughts right now is quite difficult. So I guess best way to pick.
I know the feeling, man. It's just like, where to start? I think I'll just say first and foremost, it's just like, it has been a ride. Before I even go into getting into the chapter, Bleach has finally ended its mark. That no more volumes will be coming out for this manga, and in terms of anime and manga, it's been such a defining thing in my interest in anime and manga overall. Just like for me to get into anime, I started with Bleach and with that first arc, and when it stopped, I just hopped onto the manga and I've just been following it. And you always think that one of the big threes will never end, just like I thought Naruto would never end or this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say none of us saw this ending coming.
Yeah, I think we all know what happened. But I just want to say to Kubo-sensei, I'm looking forward to finally, cough cough, legally acquiring all of your issues over time. And thank you for your hard work. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it then. Let's jump right into it. So let's do a quick recap of the final chapter of Bleach. Of course, we left off with the 10-year time skip where Rukia was made a captain and Ichigo was suspicious by his absence. We see a familiar kind of face. This sort of is a theme. Somebody who has Ichigo's kind of hair and Orihime's eyes. Basically, chapter starts with a small child, no older than 10 years old, in Hiyori's house. He's snuck in and she chased him off. Then there's a nice cover art. It's everyone 10 years in the future, or at least everyone from Karakura Town, as well as Rukia and Renji. So then we see, then we go on to seeing Byakuya and Soifone. They're rushing to the scene of the crime where they found the last remnants of Yhwach spirit energy, like his Reishi. Mayuri Koretsuchi is already there. And they're basically just looking at this last little bit of energy that remains as remnants of Yhwach, basically, in the Soul Society. Scene then skips to Ichigo Kurosaki, the Kurosaki Clinic. Renji and Rukia are knocking on. Older Ichigo answers the door. There's a bit of a back and forth. Rukia and Ichigo going sort of like at the beginning of the series, where they were just having a bit of banter. All the gangs there inside, they've all gone in to watch Chad and a boxing match, a world title boxing match. He's become a famous boxer. Yuzu and Karina there, they're all grown up. All the other guys are there. Chad looks just like Shunsui Kyoraku to me there slightly, at least in one of the arcs. Then we switch to see what Uryu's up to. He's became a doctor who never takes any breaks. He's not there, but he's watching on his phone. We just hear some random guys off panel talking about him, just saying, "Oh, he's a really good guy."
With admiration.
Yep. And then, of course, the big reveal: Orihime is called in by Ichigo. She's got an apron on, which means she's obviously a loving mother and wife, because that's the sign in
God
manga.
Damn it!
If you're wearing an apron, that's it. Yep, so she's there. They're just talking about where their kid is. They're just saying how he runs around. He's running around Hiyori's place, and then she's in Yuzu's room, which used to be Ichigo's room. They then mention that Rukia and Renji have had a kid, so it turns out they're together. And she's become a Shinigami apprentice, their kid, but they don't know where she is. They're not worried because she is a Shinigami, so she'll batter anyone anyway. We switch then to Kazui, who is Ichigo and Orihime's kid. He's in Yuzu's room, and suddenly there's a little black orb, which looks like Yhwach's remnants as Reishi. The kid reaches out and touches it, and destroys it. I'm not sure how. I believe it's just probably because his spiritual pressure destroys it. His reishi destroys it, I guess. But he destroyed the last remnants of his power. We then go to Sosuke Aizen, who is once again captured. He's once again locked away in deepest, darkest dungeons of the Soul Society. And he has a little monologue just talking about Yuha Bark. We then skip back to 10 years before when Ichigo has killed Yuha Bark and he's been slashed in half. Yuha Bark finally reveals the extent of his plan. He wanted to merge the Soul Society, Weiku Mundu, and the real world all together into one. So the cycle was broken basically because obviously once a soul dies from the world of living, they go to
exactly.
Soul Society. He wanted to merge all that into one and to eradicate the fear of death. He tells Ichigo that because of him, that will never happen. However, Sosuke Aizen then just basically says, a world without fear would be a world without hope, and people wouldn't continue to strive forward, even in the face of fear of death. And he basically just says, oh, that name is courage. We then see a close-up of Ichigo, because, he's courage personified. Suddenly, where Yuha Bark's energy has been destroyed in Yuzu and Ichigo's room, well, Yuzu, formerly Ichigo's room, a leg sticks out, and it is Ichika Abarai, which is Rukia and Renji's little kid, in full Shinigami garb. She introduces herself to Kazui. He introduces himself, and then shock horror, he is also a kind of Shinigami too. He has a sword and the little Shinigami robes and everything. And the final panel is just the incredulation of the mini Abarai. And that's the end.
I've never seen a manga ending with a shocked face in my life. That's almost legendary.
Okay. Let's start with the biggest shock for me, personally, was... Holy shit! Tite Kubo did something really un-Tite Kubo-like. He shipped a lot of character.
He shipped a lot. It looks suspicious to me as hell. You know what I think this is? I think this is him being beaten by the editor, who was like, okay, not enough fan service in this, whatever. You're going to get cancelled, Kubo. You're going to get cancelled. Then Kubo was like, I'll do my own thing. Then he's like, nope, you're done. But you have to put ships to at least please the audience, or otherwise you'll be hot fire. Because I'm just like, damn, this is not. Can
I take this moment to gloat as well? Ichihime for the win!
You bastard!
Oh yeah! Who predicted that shit? Oh.
That is okay. To be honest, that is the saltiest thing that I've been salty about. I was like, oh no. The kid. I was like, oh no. I was still in denial. I was like, maybe those are Rukia's. I'm like, no, not Reggie. What was Reggie doing? No.
Rukia makes more sense. Okay. I'm not I don't spend all my days shipping or anything, but to me, personally, I think Renji and Rukia makes more sense. They've had that bond, whereas Ichigo and Rukia, to me, it's always been there's never been any romantic interest. It's always been a sort of camaraderie, unlikely allies.
I don't want to hear this, man.
And then even a sort of family bond, like a sibling bond almost, where they squabble and fight and play fight with each other. But
damn it.
They've got each other's backs and they love each other unconditionally. So it's more of a sibling thing to me. Whereas Ichigo and Orihime, even though Ichigo's never really expressed any interest.
That's what I'm wondering about. He's the one who got grabbed by the chick.
It is. I mean, it's 10 years time skip, I'm sure. Maybe he's grown up and gone, do you know what? Now I don't have to fight no real bad guys. Let me go get myself some Orihime ass. So, maybe what he's
I'm sure that teacher is salty. The MILF who was worried about him in the when he returned to Earth, the end of in this latest arc, the human teacher.
But, I guess So shipping, holy crap, that wasn't something I was expecting. I kind of thought he would, but it was just nah, Tite Kubo doesn't do that. Even though I'm happy with a time skip because a series of this, length, just like Naruto, just like Fairy Tail, I think, once the world has been saved, to tie it up in a nice little storytelling bow as we like to see how their lives played out after the fact, and just see that they've settled down, they're happy, they're truly happy with what they've got, and, it satisfies all the shippers, or half of them anyway. I know there was a lot of backlash with Naruto and Hinata. Some people wanted Narusaku, but fuck Naruto. Anyway, we're talking about Bleach.
Fuck Sakura.
Yeah. So that was the shipping. So that was unkubo-like. The introduction of children. Yeah, come on.
What did you think of the kids? Not in a shipping sense, but I'm just like what's that?
They shouldn't be shipping them. 10 years old, for God's sake. Well, 9.
Damn it, no, not shipping them. But I mean, I'm getting a warning signal
about a spin-off.
in my head.
Are you thinking there's going to be a spin-off?
Yes.
Okay, well.
Yes.
No, I personally, I don't think there'll be a spin-off. I think it's almost like a tease there, but it's like Kubo's sort of just saying, okay, well, the Ichigo and Rukia, obviously, they had their sort of, that was the beginning of their partnership. Rukia just appearing in the room, kind of like how Ichigo did, but I feel like it's just a teaser saying, oh yeah, these two are going to get along, and these two are, he's going to become a Shinigami. In theory, he's going to be a Shinigami in training, so he'll have to go to Soul Society. So they're going to grow up around each other, and sort of, they're going to go off on their own adventures. But I don't think that means there's going to be a spin-off. There could be, but personally, I don't think there's going to be. There'll be a hell of a lot of fan fiction about them. Guaranteed. But this time next week, there's going to be all sorts there.
Them grown up and stuff as well.
Yeah. Next, the other thing I was going to say is that was unkubo-like. However, what was very much tight Kubo down to a T is the brevity of the chapter. It's a final chapter, and we haven't
That's
seen,
exactly it.
We haven't
There's
seen,
so many questions.
Yeah, Urahara, Yoriichi, no conclusion. They were missing. The rest, the Hollows, the Soul Society, I know we saw briefly in the last chapter, and we sort of saw who were the captains and who were the lieutenants and stuff, but it never felt satisfactory. But then I don't think Kubo's ever really, like, when push comes to shove, he is sort of a bit sparse on those kind of details, and it's very sad.
I like to call it minimalist. I'm still not sure if it's like plot holes or it just doesn't talk about some things that...
I guess it's true, it's minimalist. Like, we can assume that Urahara's gone back to his shop, and he's just, doing what he did, like carrying on doing his thing. Obviously, Kyoriku's the captain commander. We know who all the captains are. We're safe to assume that they're just going about doing the Soul Society job. Like, they're doing normal Soul Reaper shit. We saw all the other characters.
Yep.
So I guess the biggest omission were them. Ishin as well. Like, we kind of want
I think he's dead. I think Ishin has passed away or something.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
They're living in his house. Where would he go? Like,
I don't think Ichigo was living there. I think because they said that it used to be Yuzu's room. I think
Ichigo is running the clinic that they used to run in the Kurosaki house, and he's there watching TV with the wife, and the kid is there. Where would the father be? The stupid idiot father who's comic relief. Like, even if he's an old man bumbling around, he would definitely show up and crash his kid's part.
Thought so. I was expecting him to be there, but maybe they just wanted to show those guys. Ishin, I don't think he's dead, and I don't think Ichigo... Personally, I think Ichigo doesn't live there. I think Ishin still lives there. Yuzu and Karin live there, and then it's just, Ichigo's... Obviously, it's his family home, so they're renting it. Not renting it, but, like, they're just using it to watch the match, perhaps. I'm not sure, but that's how I interpreted it. But, yeah, it's never not clear, because Kubo doesn't explain it.
All I can say is that is one thing where I'm like, why I like the chapter as well. There's just so much to discuss about. There's just no going over so many questions, and it might be annoying. It will be annoying for me on some parts, but I'm just like, this story has so much going for it. It's just. Yep.
I've said a lot. What did you think, Lego?
Yeah, you've pretty much pointed out everything we've all been thinking. I just wanted to mention we had the Jua Bach final dialogue. I think that was the only part where Kubo went, okay, something dark and nasty is happening, rather than killing off a character suddenly, or Ichigo having to be the Soul King and sacrificing himself, or some sort of, like this was his stakes. I don't know how to define it, but it was just like, this was his moment to make people like feel how bad the enemy was, right? Like Jua Bach says, Ichigo, you screwed over reality by letting the death cycle continue, and then Aizen's dialogue. But But I think it's because it's shonen. It had to be more of an inspirational speech by Aizen, but it was so Joa back like for him to be like, "You screwed everything over," and I like that bit. Another thing is what's that? Like questions which are more like I'm really interested in them, not just out of curiosity, but we need to know what replaces the Soul King. Is it that Aizen is a new battery? Like his chair looks different. He still looks sealed. I don't know if he's in prison or is he being used like a battery to
think he was in prison just because it was like quite dark and deep down. But yeah, we don't know who replaced the Soul King because how did they reconstruct the Soul King?
Because that is the balance of souls, right? Like the Soul King.
Soul King's sole duty was soul duty. Ha! Puns, bitch.
Put a twist on that one.
His sole purpose was to keep the cycle going, to regulate the amount of souls coming in and out. I know obviously the Soul Reapers do that to a lesser extent, but he was the main driving force behind that.
And my final thing is what's that? We're definitely not getting any information out of the future. The kid. I'm wondering, like, if Ichigo had so much power from the whole Quincy whole Shinigami thing, and then the kid has the powers from Inoue's rejection of reality thing and Ichigo's powers. Maybe that's why he's so OP. He ends Joa Buck's thing. Yeah. Anyway, those were my thoughts at the time. Mixed feelings about the chapter. I feel annoyed about lots of things, but I also feel more emotionally overwhelmed than anything. It's just like, damn, Bleach is ending, man. I still have lots to talk about for this one.
Yeah.
And now we move on to the important, important announcement.
Go on.
The one which was teased in the last chapter. Bleach is getting a live action in 2018.
Well, that's not your announcement. That's Bleach's announcement. Okay, so it was a live action film.
Yeah, it's not my announcement. Yeah, it's a live action.
I don't think we guessed that. I don't think we anticipated that.
No, we guessed something else. Novel continuation, I think. You didn't release that? Okay.
Novel game. Maybe we said movie, I guess. What I would like to see as well, because there were so many things, and so many things that were left undone, and because I don't think they've had one, I would very much, what I think would be nice to see is a character book, just like the Masks, like Masked and Bleach Colourful and those kind of things, where it was all the stats and data. You could get one for all the Quincy's, because off the top of my head, I can't think that they released one for the Quincy's, but also it'll just give us that kind of a bit extra information about what everybody else was up to, what's happened with the Soul King. I know it's not in the story, it's not perfect, but I'd like that information just to be released at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think he should feed us some information. It shouldn't just be completely finished. There's absolutely no Bleach in any form. I don't want a spin-off manga necessarily. I just need a little padding.
Just give me the info that I was missing, and then I can piece the story. I can piece it in my head, and I'll be happy. But yeah, live action film. I'll withhold any kind of judgment until I see a trailer. Traditionally, Japan hasn't done the best with live action and CGI.
Maybe it'll be on Netflix.
Admittedly, with Bleach, one thing you've got going for you, I guess, is that other than the hollows and the special effects, you haven't got too much to CG. It depends purely. I mean, it really depends on what they do. To be honest, they do the.
Yeah, I have no idea if Bleach even translates.
I mean, I don't know what you would do to cover. You'd have to start with Ichigo. I mean, you could possibly attempt to condense the Soul Society arc down, but I really don't think that could. I don't think you could do it justice by doing that. Even if it was a 3-hour film, you'd struggle. You really would struggle to set everything.
How do you make Bankai look cool in live action without some CG horror?
It would be CG. No, I'm not dissing CG. I know everyone's quick to hate CG, but CG can be fucking fantastic if it works well. Some special effects are fucking breathtaking if used right and if done correctly. However, Japan hasn't had the best history of doing it, but again, I will withhold judgment until I see a trailer of it or more information or more stills or something, just so I can see what's going on. But final thoughts then for myself. I personally, I'm trying to think now. So, final thoughts on the chapter, on the finish of Bleach. Some things I like. I'm not disappointed by the chapter. You can tell that this wasn't the planned ending point. Like, there's been so much that's sort of rushed and it skips back and forth in time that it just feels like, unfortunately, Tite Kubo didn't have time. He didn't have the editors didn't have the faith in him to continue it for another 10 or 20 chapters, which it could have done with in an ideal world, but this is the finish we got. This is the one we're going to have to talk about. I'm happy to see that they tied it up. At least there was a conclusion to Yuha Bark. He finally revealed his plan on the last chapter of why he was doing what he was doing, really. Like, we finally found the motive, which we kind of never spoke about before. That was, I guess, the one thing that was a bit nitpicky, because as far as I'm aware, he never really mentioned anything like a fear of dying, a fear of death. Like, he never mentioned that.
Being scared of dying.
But that would have been a great character element if they brought that in, where it was like when they show his history and when he's a small baby who's defenseless, just building on that. When he was a small baby who was defenseless, but he could give part of his soul out, and that's how he eventually got his voice and got his, ability to move and such like that, by giving people his soul and then taking it back when they died. That's how he built his life up. So, like, the fear of regressing back to that state, maybe that could have been something that sort of played in his character, would have been something that I would have liked to have seen, but they didn't do anything like that, so that just wasn't the case, unfortunately. But yes, Ichigo, happy. I guess I'm happy with the arc. I kind of like that they introduced children. I didn't think Kubo would do something like that. I didn't think he really would do shipping, like, sort of confirming couples and stuff. Even that's slightly ambiguous. He didn't explicitly state that he is, but, we have to, you can assume it. If a kid's got the same eyes as one parent, they always have the hair of one of the parents and the eyes of the other. It's just like, yeah, you can have one or the other. Like, you've got to have, like, a mash of both features so we know who you are. But yeah, ultimately, I'm not going to go as far as say as I like. This isn't the ending. It's not a perfect ending, but for what we were given, and for all the years of Bleach, to finally see a conclusion to it, and to end on a happy note, I guess, and to see sort of like the next generation, I guess, I can live with it. I don't hate it.
Yeah. All I know is that I was thinking that this chapter would be a double spread chapter.
Yeah,
and I was just like, it's like it suddenly ended. So just from that simple fact alone, I know that I liked the chapter. I liked what I was seeing, and mixed feelings as well. But yeah, it's an end. It's not the perfect end, but it's an end, and it is a goodbye to Bleach.
It is. There's so much to talk about as Bleach as a whole. I know we've only covered the chapter and the news of the live action film, which we haven't really gone in depth of. But I will just say now, because there's a lot of our friends and co-hosts who want to discuss Bleach and who have watched this, Corin in particular, will really want to get on this. So what we're going to do, we are going to be doing a happy hour episode devoted to Bleach. So we are going to talk about Bleach in general. We're going to talk a lot more about the ending, what could have been done differently, any changes, what we're happy with in terms of the final arc in general, and favourite moments from Bleach and everything. We'll just be having a Bleach-a-thon, big fuck off Bleach episode coming to you very soon. So look out for that. Yeah, we'll be discussing Bleach as a whole, and, a lot more about Bleach and, our history with it and dealings with it and what we got inspired from it with. So, that's everything from me. Is there anything else you want to say, Lego?
All I want to say is, Bankai and goodbye.
Bankai and goodbye. Taikubo, thank you for the memories.
Thanks, man.